With me are 10 dangers of excessive financial kindness. I've ever been in a situation whereby you become too kind to people. Whenever someone calls you, hey, so and so, would you mind helping me like 2,000 or something of sort? You keep on doing so. And then it reaches to a point whereby you start regretting your behaviors. You're like, oh my goodness, I was doing all that for the sake of being kind and also being helpful to them, but it has turned against me. I've ever been in such kind of a situation. I always tell people it is amazing and good and I support helping. But at the same time, it become excessive kindness. There's some of the dangers that you actually gonna get them. And honestly, before that happens, and already if it's happening to you, what exactly can you be able to do? All right, if it's never happened to you, then listen to this video to the end so that you understand. I'm gonna share with you, can you imagine 1 2 3 10 dangers? So why not watch this video to the end so that you grasp the maximum information? Because I've seen people suffering. A lot of calls that I usually get on my DM, you can wonder how many they are. Oh, by the way, talking of you contacting me, you can. My number is always on the description of this specific video. Pertaining to financial investment and such kind of a thing, you can give me a call, all right? And by the way, don't forget, I always post a video each and every time, each and every day for your information. So if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, make sure that you hit that subscription button and like this video. That's like telling me, thank you, Joseph, for the good work that you're doing. Let's get into the business now. Let's go with point number one. The point number one that is one of the dangers that actually gets you, the moment you get yourself into an excessive kindness, is usually called dependency. Dependency. You know what? Have you ever met somebody for the first time and maybe you dish out some cash and help them? And then after some time, you know, those guys, the moment, immediately after giving you for the first time, they are so happy. They can even thank you like the entire stage of, oh my goodness, thank you very much. You're such a blessing. You're an amazing person. All right. And then after some time you meet again and then you give them again. They're like, oh my God, you know what? You're just a blessing to me. I know I do love you very much. You know, sometimes you may not know whether they really love you or they love you giving them money. You never know. All right. And then after some time you give them the third time. You know, the amount, the rate at which they actually being thankful to you keep on reducing. If you compare the first time, the second time, keep on reducing to a point where, let's say you give them at the eighth time. The eighth time, they're like, thank you. And the ninth time, they're expecting something. The 10th time, they are already doing budget for that money that usually help them. For example, if you just maybe sometimes you sort of have a cover, and you can even try this. Try sort of give somebody, maybe say at the end of the month, you give them something. They now move from the point of you helping them to now it making them their right to you helping them. They now even engage you in their budget. They say, oh, you know what? At the end of the month, I usually receive like 10K from somebody. So, you know, they keep on budgeting. And if you happen not to send that amount of money, they check on you. Oh, how is you? How is everything? And then if you don't do anything and you don't even talk about that money, and then after some time they can even send you an inbox, hey, you know what, I'm facing a lot of difficulties, if you don't mind, if you can have like 2K, you can help me in something of sort. And then maybe say you happen to tell them no. I want you to go and play this psychology. They tell them no. Guess what happens? They start you know, framing you names and all those kind of things. Oh, you're not a good person. And maybe it happened that maybe say you married like last month. They blame everything on your wife. Oh, it's because you married that wife, you know, it's because blah, blah, blah. That's the reality. Because guess what? You create dependency onto them. It is good to help and at the same time try to sort of elevate those people and inculcate the spirit of a dependency deep inside of them. Right? That's the point. Let's go to the point number two. There's something called financial drain. Have you ever heard of something called financial drain? Financial drain. I do receive a lot of calls from people and they tell me, hey, guess what, Joseph? Where I am, I'm at the corner. You know, a certain lady called me from the Gulf and she told me, you know what? I don't even know what I can exactly do. Where I am right now, I feel like I'm at the corner. Because I usually help my family members. I'm in a situation whereby I've been here for the last 2 years. I haven't done anything for my sake. I don't even know what I can do. I do not even know. Please just tell me, what exactly can I do? I actually open a door that I'm unable to close right now. I'm actually in a situation whereby, yes, it is good to help. I've educated my brothers. I pay their school fees and everything. They all depend on me. But I, as a person, you know what? I got my kid and I do not even know how I can even support them. Personally, I've actually financially drained myself. You know what? It is good to help, but at the same time, it's good you balance helping and also growing yourself. You might be shocked. Once you help them and it comes to a situation whereby you either run broke, they are the same people will talk much about you and say, hey, you don't think you had an opportunity, you misused your opportunity and all those kind of things, forgetting that you're actually helping them to be where they are. You know, welcome to the world. If you've been living under the rock, that is exactly how the societies behave, all right? If you can have an individual who can actually hold you at that needing moment, there are very few. I'm not saying that they are not there. They are there, but they are in a very significant amount of them. Almost, can I call them even negligible? That's a reality and that's a fact. So be very, very cautious and careful at the same time. So we go to the next one. The next one is actually having something called entitlements. I've had somebody called entitlement. You are entitled. Entitlements. You know, that person now shifts from you helping them to making you helping them as they are right. You know, there is a difference between, see, you helping somebody, it is not their right, it is your will. And people have actually shifted. If you become excessive kind, especially on the financial aspect, so if you do this now, they shift from it being you helping them to it being their right to be helped. That's a reality. And this is the time whereby you can even get yourself making enemies. And by the way, this can actually be another point, 4 points, you know, making enemies. You can actually be making enemies with them. You know, you make enemies with them. And this particular case, you find that yourself, you can even, see what? Money is an amazing thing when you people share when you have it. But actually, this one can actually result to enmity. See, lending them money sometimes, if not helping them, and then to a point whereby you're now going out there to ask for your money, you can even find yourself making some enmities to some of the people whom you even respect. Even some of them are even your in-laws and all those kind of things. So these entitlements is what I've actually heard a lot of people talking about. Sometimes this entitlement is even registered with the parents. Yeah, there are some of the parents actually, they even take you like a retirement plan. I know we're supposed to help our parents. That's an amazing thing. We should do that, that's for sure. But at the same time, you should supposed to, and I do not know why this has to prevail in Africa. You know, they make it like a return. Like, you really have to. You're barely struggling, you're barely getting by, but you have all those assigns are actually been put on top of your head. And I know you might rub shoulders with me on the comment section. I did not, and this one is in capital letter, I did not say that you're not supposed to help your parents. No, I said some of them true, some of them are toxic. You can be in a situation whereby somebody actually takes everything and put it on your shoulder, and you're barely even getting by. And in that case, you see, I'm saying this because I usually get a lot of, you people appear, you tend to make it look as if you're strong when you're in midst. But the moment you come at your own specific point where you call me, that's the time now you unleash the true weakness that you. It is true. I usually receive a lot of these calls of people who are having the problems with such kind of things. You really need to be smart when it comes to cash, or otherwise you might struggle a lot. Let's go to the next point. The next point is actually interference with what we call financial growth. They can actually interference with what? With financial growth. They actually interfere with the financial growth because obviously, as much as you want to help them, you also need to grow yourself. You also need to progress yourself to move to the next level as far as the finances are concerned. Now here you are, you're doing it in an excessive way. And obviously, there's nothing wrong with doing it in an excessive way. You're not doing it in a smart way. You also need to make sure that as much as you're giving, you also remain, with a certain percentage, okay? So that at least you can be able to do what? Have a concoction of those two things. Yes, you have a good social life. You're not breaking up the social fabric. And at the same time, you're not also breaking your bank account. So you have a combination of those two things. So if you can be able to balance it, and let me tell you one thing. For you to balance those two things, you will be given names. You will be called names. You will be actually assigned some. But I'm telling you one secret. Provided you start by your own feet and you say, when you say a no is a no, you can actually do great things as far as this life of finance is concerned, right? Let's go to the next point. Now, the other point is that there's something called financial strain. Have you heard of something called financial strain? Right? Financial strain. You see, strained relationship. Financial strain can also be mean also the same as financial drain. We can also talk about the other point is about strained relationship. You can have what we call the strained relationship. Strained relationship is where you can be able to create enmities with people just because, hey, they're entitled, they feel like you ought to actually help them. And this is what I said, it can actually go ahead and do what? Making enmity at that particular point. That's what you call the strained relationship. Sometimes you can even lend your parents some money when you're actually going there to ask them. If you come from Africa, you know what I'm talking about. And then you realize you're actually creating some of the enmities with these people. All right. Now we go to the point number 8. At that point number 8, you find there is something called erosion of what you call the responsibility. Erosion of responsibilities. Erosion of what? Responsibilities. Okay, what does it mean? You see, each and every human being, as we grow old, we ought to be responsible our lives. And what does that mean? It means as much as we obviously there was a time in our lives we needed help. Obviously, that's normal thing with human beings, okay? We rely on each other. That's why you cannot be able to live in an island. You need other people, all right? So as much as that is the case, You see, when I say you need to be helped, you need to be helped so that you can uplift yourself and be able to also go ahead and stand by yourself so that you can as well empty that kindness to a different individual. So when I say it erodes what we call the responsibilities, you're shaking off. Because sometimes I get some calls from parents and are telling me, hey, you know what? I have a 30-year-old kid in my house. I'm trying to sort of like tell them to go and do things by themselves. They don't want to do that, and they just want to be here. I'm be feeding them and all those kind of things. It is because sometimes when you get used to being excessive kind in terms of the finance, whenever somebody asks you for the, and let me tell you one secret. The moment you realize somebody has reached to a point whereby they can even call you for the basics of the basics of the basics in their lives, that is a door that you've opened. And let me tell you one secret. The time that you try to close that door, it will be the hardest action that you can ever take in life. You get what I'm saying? Because there's some of the things that you can try in life. Maybe you're thinking that you're helping, and at the same time, you're actually spoiling them. And this one can actually be used with kids. For example, say a kid wants for something that hey, they are working, or they can be able to work and get something. Obviously, if they are below 18 and they are not working, that's understandable. But if somebody that's 22, 23, 24, 25, and you're still buying them underwears, surely at that particular age, and this guy is here and there, you can get them, putting on a very big shoes, meaning that they actually bought that shoes, or maybe they're playing the PS or whatever they think they're doing. Sometimes it's good to sort of quote unquote you soft neglect them in a way. Obviously, neglecting them does not mean like you just push them away out there. No, just look at them in a way to see whether they are responsible. Okay, fine. You can give them some cash or maybe some things, and then be able to check whether they actually can they spend that money in a responsible way. You give them like 10,000, 20,000. They go buy like like 10,000 shoe, or they buy something. I mean, you can just tell this individual is actually moving. That is a crisis in making. So don't get surprised when they reach at their 40s, then they're still in your house. That's a reality. So you actually erode what we call the responsibility. We can also call it, accountability. There is that what we call the accountability. Okay. Now, the other thing is about stress and anxiety. Okay. Number 9, the stress and anxiety. Now, the stress and anxiety, this one, it comes especially when you decide to withdraw the help that you have, or maybe you're suffering from what we call the financial drain, or what you call the financial strain. So the moment you register the financial drain or the financial strain, then obviously what comes along is what? The financial, or what we call the stress, and also what we call the anxiety, all right? Now, the problem is this, is that the moment you become stressful or depressed, obviously you become less productive. When you become less productive, then actually you're even making way less. Therefore, those people who depend on you won't even actually get what they used to get. You see, it's like a cycle that repeats itself. So what you're supposed to do is that be very careful, because this one can actually result to stresses and financial anxiety. At this particular point, this is when we say, if you cannot be able to solve it by yourself, go check or go look for what we call the financial advisor. Go get somebody whom you can give them a call, you can have a conversation, and if you go there, empty your heart. Just empty that what is in your chest. Just say, guess what? This is how it is. See, they always say that problems talked is actually halfway solved. You talk, people tell them, this is what I'm suffering, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think is the best option? Do not hold things deep inside of yourself. You can get yourself even having bigger problems, not even stresses and anxiety. That one can actually result to a very big problem out there. And the last one is that undermining something called self-esteem. Okay, self-esteem. Okay, self-esteem, and this one can actually have a two-way in the sense that it can affect you who is giving, and also can actually affect the one whom you're giving. By the way, you know what, I still remember the very first time I bought myself a belt. I remember what I did, and I got that amount of money, and I bought. By them, I remember I was still in primary school, and I managed to buy myself a belt. If there was something I treasured in my life, was that belt. You couldn't even joke with that belt. So the moment you actually do something by yourself, the moment you acquire that thing by yourself, there is that responsibility, there is that, esteem, elevate your esteem. You have the confidence, you exude that aura of confidence. And the moment you keep on being given, can you imagine walking somewhere and you have a suit that you were given? Can you just imagine that you're walking in the midst of people, you can see somebody who gave you that suit? Or maybe that guy took you to a place and bought you that suit. Well, it's okay, but at the same time, how exactly does it feel? You feel like you can't even tell people how they can acquire a suit, because, I mean, how will you tell it in the presence of someone who gave you and you definitely never acquired by yourself? Can you just imagine that? All right. For example, if you're asking me how do you make a channel, how do you get 50,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube channel, I can confidently come before you and I tell you this is exactly what you can be able to do, because I have done it. You get the point? So the moment you ought to be given your excessive kindness to people, also can also result to you having a low self-esteem, in the sense that, hey, you know what, if it affects you to point of having the anxiety, the stresses, then the financial drain or whatever, because what, whenever you know you have something at the bank account, you usually have what we call the confidence, and the moment you know that you're suffering from all those kind of things, then you can get yourself into lots of problems. Get what, guy? That's the 10 points or the 10 dangers that you can actually get them if you get yourself into the financial, or what you call the excessive financial kindness. Guess what? I repeat, this is my disclaimer as I end this video. I have not said people should not help people. People should help. I do support it 100% sure. But as much as you do so, it is good to also have a combination of the aspect of taking care of yourself, your family, and also helping people out there. All right? The point is this: all the time, do something in moderation. If you'd like to have a conversation with me, make sure that you pick that number of mine and let's talk about it. And I usually offer my services at a cup of coffee's price, meaning it's quite affordable. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.